At She Can, we tell women's stories. We interview women from all over the world and all walks of life to hear their stories because it's easier to be what you can see. I'm very excited to talk to Dr. Maryam Zamani today. Maryam, welcome to She Can. You are a really world-renowned oculoplastic surgeon and facial aesthetics doctor with a global reputation for a subtle, beautiful, and ultra-precise approach to help achieve an elegant eyelid and fabulous skin. You and your team offer state-of-the-art treatments to deliver refreshed, rejuvenated, and joyous results to feel and look good. You're globally known as the eye doctor, and I have been hearing about you for decades. So tell us a bit more about yourself and what you do.
So that's such a nice introduction. Thanks so much. So basically, I am an oculoplastic surgeon, which means that I focus on the upper third of the face. I am one of a handful of people who are probably both board certified in the United States and also have the ability to work at the same level as a specialist on the registrar here in the UK. I moved to London mainly because of my husband at the time, or my fiance, and have sort of morphed and created, what I do based on a series of events that happened. So I initially started as an oculoplastic surgeon, being only concentrating on surgery on this part of the face. And when I moved here, I couldn't initially work, and so I did 2 fellowships in oculoplastic surgery. And during that time, there were lots of fillers out on the market. It was really a fun and exciting time in aesthetics. And it was really exciting because there are so many patients who had had previous surgery, had injury to their faces, and didn't want to have, the 10th surgery. And we're looking towards using injectables like hyaluronic acid to really have improvements in how they looked. And that was really life-changing for them and also us. No big surgery, no downtime, quick fixes to make them look and feel their best despite, whatever issue was going on. That led me to be interested in the skin. And so I did a dermatology certificate with Cardiff to learn more about skin. And when it came time to open my own practice, I wanted to incorporate all of them. I knew that skin was really at the essence, and really the goal is to look at somebody's face and features and harmoniously make them feel better about what they look like so that they can also feel more confident. So when someone comes into my office, it's never about, oh, someone told me I need this. It's more, gosh, I look in the mirror and I don't feel I look my best, and it really gets me down. Or I see pictures of myself and I don't recognize myself anymore. And those are the things that I try and help treat. And the skincare, well, I was an accidental entrepreneur in that I did it for myself. I suffered terribly from melasma with my second child, and I really wanted to do something and treat my skin. And at the time, there was a big gap in the market with male doctor-led brands made for men, for women. I felt like I was putting medicine on my face. I became the non-compliant patient, and it really spurred me to create my own brand targeted on skin concerns for clear, beautiful skin, with, keeping in mind, I wanted clinical trials. I wanted it to be efficacious. I wanted it to be ethically sourced. I wanted it to be practical. I didn't want to have too many steps when I was doing this. It was the time of the 16-step skincare, and I'm a mother, I work, there was no way I could barely do my 4 steps, so I definitely wasn't going to embark on that. So I created that really out of necessity for myself, not knowing where it was going to take me. And now that's my third baby.
Amazing, Mariam. You've really created a non-stop shop for us women and maybe also men, I don't know, to come
Yeah,
to you
men
to
and
feel
women.
better. Yeah. So what do you think, how much do you think is your not being just an eye doctor and a skin expert, but also a therapist and friend to your clients? When they come to you, they feel down, the confidence gap, especially as we age, but also in younger women, is still there. We worry so much about what we look like. How does that, how do you deal with that?
So I think it's really important. So I don't, when someone comes into my office and comes in for a consultation, I always ask them to look at themselves and to tell me what they see, what
Mm.
their good points are, what their bad points are. So, the idea is that I get their input. I don't say, sometimes someone might have a mole on their face and they really love that mole. And if I say, oh my gosh, take off that mole, then they don't actually know, they feel bad about themselves.
Yeah.
And so, the idea really is about helping people look and feel their best at every age. And so what I want to do is not point out something they don't even notice. What I want to do is find the thing that bothers them. It might be that they say, this bothers me, but in actuality, it's something else. But if I can find the point of why they think they don't look their best, then I can figure out a plan that might be different than what they thought their plan might be. But that's the idea behind it. And so a lot of my patients, I love the fact that I've known them for many years. I've seen them, we've grown up together, some of them. We're always exchanging ideas. I have really wonderful patients, mothers, colleagues. I have women who are super, at the top of their game in whatever profession it is that they have. And, the idea for everybody is we want to live our best life for as long as possible. And that means looking our best as well. I'm about to turn 50 next week. And interestingly, the Golden Girls, don't know if you
Of
might be
course,
too
I
young,
remember them.
but the Golden Girls were my age. And it's just interesting how life has changed. And yes, 50 is still 50. I can't say it's the new 40, but we are doing things differently. We are taking care of ourselves differently. We are achieving differently. We are having children later. Life is a bit different than what it was. And we are living longer. And so it is really important to live your best life. And that means living well, looking well, and feeling well.
Yeah, amazing. Mariam, so give us a little bit of an insight. What are the challenges that you face, and how do you deal with them?
So there's a lot of challenges. When I was younger, I never truthfully realized how sexism plays in all professions. I am slightly sheltered because of my industry. So I am constantly surrounded by really fabulous women, which is very fortunate. So my practice is probably 25% men, 75% women. And the men are usually more surgical cases. They come in, they have surgery, and I don't always see them back again. Most of the time, they're one and done. They come in for an acute reason, and then that they're once that's finished or they feel happy, they don't really come back, or something that's very rarely ongoing for long periods of time. And so I feel that is fortunate because I get to see how amazing so many women are and how we work collectively to really elevate the bar. But I'm also a founder of a brand, and now I've done everything on my own, independently, and I'm looking to really sort of take my brand to the next level and looking for investors. And that is a very different ball game. And, sometimes I see things that I don't know how I'm necessarily supposed to interpret what's been said. I don't know if it's sort of passive aggressive, if it's shocking that I've done this, being a woman. And sometimes I wonder if the way that I'm spoken to would be different if it was another man in the room.
Yeah,
Having said that, I take everything in my stride. I think that work ethic for most women, sometimes you have to work a little harder to prove yourself, and I'm okay with that. I would say that I'm fortunate because I do have so many wonderful, amazing women who are doing great things. And so I look to them for support and inspiration. And, I think the nice thing is that I always ask for help. So I think that's something different between men and women, is that women will feel comfortable in asking for, what do you think about this? They think about it a little bit more. They'll get more opinions. Men might be a little bit easier to say, you know what, I'm making this decision and that's it, and going with it. Whereas I'm not sure why. I think sometimes as a woman, we think about things a little bit more. Is this a good idea? We're more thoughtful, which can be to our benefit, but it can also be to our detriment. So there's pros and cons. I think for me, the biggest thing is that you have to be malleable. You have to be able to change your course. If something's not working, you're not a tree, you can change it. If you need to be able to be agile, you need to be able to make decisions and say, you know what, maybe that wasn't the best decision, and acknowledge that, move on, and find a solution for it. So I think there's always a solution. Sometimes you don't see it. It's nice to be able to ask for help, because another head might think of an answer that you didn't think of, and it might even be immediate. And you're like, wow, how did you think of that? I wouldn't have thought of that even if I had another 24 hours, you know? So I think collectively thinking is always beneficial. And I think being able to pivot and change and be agile and respond to your environment, your community, your position is also really important. There's no shame in acknowledging something didn't work and pivoting and changing it. I think that is what a true successful entrepreneur and person will do. And I also think it's really important to raise your team and to always be active in trying to improve them and their abilities, and to raise them in whatever their goals are, because you know, you're growing and they should be growing at the same time.
Yeah, I think you talked about so many important things. The investment gap is real. We get 2% of VC money worldwide. It's really tiny. We often pitch to all men cap tables. And so I think that's great that you spoke about that. What do you feel are your biggest qualities that really serve you every day? And you have been speaking about that.
I think for me, first of all, I think honesty is really important. Transparency is essential. I'm about tried and tested. I'm not a gimmicky person. I think part of, you know, even my social media is very authentic. If I'm speaking about it, it comes from a place of knowledge and research. It's not, you know, just because I decided that's what I felt like talking about today. I do think about it. I do research about everything that I speak about. I would not speak about something that I don't feel confident that I am well educated on. So I think that authenticity and that transparency is really important. And I don't love the gimmicky bits, you know, like it's just not my personality. It's not part of my practice as a medical practice. It's not part of my you know, skincare brand. So I am all about results. I'm about efficacy. I want to see the data for whatever it is that I do. I will not be doing trendy treatments in my office just because it's, you know, gone viral on TikTok. I might talk about it and talk about its pros and cons, but if I don't want to do it, I wouldn't offer it to my patients. And if I wouldn't want something in my skincare, I wouldn't be making it for my customer either. So I think those are sort of important. And the other thing is that I think that I work really hard. So, you know, nothing comes easy. When you see a beautiful glacier, it's just as deep underneath. You know, what is it? They say an overnight success takes 20 years. So I'm only in year 8 of my skincare, so or 7. So I have a long way to go, and I know that there's a big road there. And at the end of the day, I just strive for excellence, because if you try and give your all, whether it's your effort, whether it's your product, whether it's your service, then you're giving it your very best shot. And chances are that success will come because you're giving it your all. And I think you can only give your all if you love what you do. So if it were a chore every day to get up and do what I'm doing, I probably wouldn't be able to do it. But I love what I do, and every day is different. Sometimes good, sometimes not so good, but it's all exciting nonetheless.
Mariam, so many important points. Thank you for that. Why don't you give us some top tips now for us to really feel like we're feeling joyous in our skin, in our bodies? What are your top tips?
Well, I think it's important to remember that skincare is self-care. And no matter what, every single day you should spend, really, it sounds crazy, but just 3 to 5 minutes taking care of yourself. And that means just following a very simple routine. Consistency is key. So keep it simple so you can keep it consistent. Use a simple ethos to reveal, enhance, and protect. So reveal means to cleanse the skin, really create that foundation for all the lovely things you're going to do to enhance it. enhance your skin with ingredients and products that are target specific. So for me, it's always been about brightening. For someone else, it might be about fighting redness or acne, or it just might be pure, I want to pro age, what should I be using to give myself the best skin for as long as possible? And that is really done through targeted solutions. And then, find the product that you like. So do you prefer lighter creams or lotions, or do you like serums, or is your skin really dry and you need something a little bit heavier? Find the formulation that works in the consistency that you like, and that can change too. It could be in the summer, you want lighter products. It could be, with your cycle, that some times of the month that you are more dry than other times of the month. So you can also mix it around, listen to your skin. And finally, you need to protect your skin. And that obviously comes from SPF, but also the lovely ingredients you can use on top, including antioxidants and, different vitamins and minerals that can really boost the skin. And finally, enjoy the process. Do a little treatment every once in a while. Take that extra 30 seconds to wash your face and, really feel the creams going on. Enjoy touching your face, doing a little massage. Those little acts of joy with purpose will make your skin look as well as it possibly can, and will also make you feel a little bit better too. So skincare is self-care. And remember, everything from, the breasts up is, and the backs of the hand are really, really important. So I think it's just important to find that consistent, simple skincare routine, and you can use it every single day.
Mariam, and you are very welcome to advertise your skin line because that's really something that you've been building for 8 years. Mariam, so what are you most proud of? What are your biggest achievements?
Well, I mean, of course, I have my two babies. Sometimes part of my team always says, you don't actually celebrate the things as much as you should. And, I am proud of the fact that I've been able to not always simultaneously have a pretty good balance of being able to have a career that I love, with my husband, my children, who I adore, who drive me up the walls right now because they're teenagers and a little bit not as fabulous as they were when they were so cute and cuddly. But it's an interesting age. And I think, for me, it's about hopefully creating and making people feel good. So I think, I am really proud. Sometimes people say, oh, such a superficial, um, you know, career you have, doing all of these things for women who are, just egocentric. And actually, it couldn't be further from the truth. I started on this path from plastics from a group called Operation Smile when I went to Thailand and saw firsthand as a medical student how 1 hour surgery could really change and alter the life of a child born with a cleft lip or palate. And it was from there that I wanted to do plastics. And what I love every single day, and I'm very proud of professionally, is that I really make people feel more confident about themselves. And when someone sends me a message, even if it's on Instagram or writes a little 2 sentence, um, review in our internal system that, that they walked out feeling like $1 million, or they look in the mirror and they don't see that problem anymore, that gives me great satisfaction. Like it makes me feel good that I made them feel good about themselves. Or, someone who says, something simple, you might not think about it, sweaty palms. I had a man come in and said, it's so embarrassing. I can't go to any meetings with sweaty palms. And now I don't have sweating palms anymore. And I'm just so thrilled. Like, I don't feel like the odd man, nervous guy who's sweating all the time. And so, those little things really give me a lot of joy. But probably one of my most proud in the skincare was the day that I launched at Harrods. I walked into the store. I brought the kids with me. I'd gone in earlier, but after school, I took them to Harrods. And my daughter, who I guess it was 7.5 years ago, and she's 13, so she was about 6 years old. And she said 5.5, actually, yeah, 5.5. And everybody who walked by, she's like, "That's my mommy." And that was a really proud moment. And when she went to school and they asked her, "What do you want to do when you grow up?" She said, "I want to take MZ Skin around the world." And I thought that was like that made me super,
Yeah,
super happy.
such
I
a
don't know if you say the same now, but back then that was what she said.
special moments. Mariam, so what are your plans and goals for the next years? You got a fundraising round coming up. Tell us more about that and your expansion plans.
So, we've been totally self-funded up until now, and, we're doing well, but I would like to accelerate our growth, profitable growth, with investment. And, I've kind of done it very organically. I've built up a really wonderful team now. And I have when I started, like I said, I was an accidental entrepreneur. I didn't have any plans, but I do have plans now. And I have a way of achieving those goals, very goal oriented. So I'm sure I'll get there. I'd like to have a small investment, mainly strategic, because I think it's really important. Sometimes I find as an entrepreneur, the hard thing is that I don't always have the answers, but I'm sure somebody else does because they've done it before. And
Yeah.
so while I tap into my network, it would be nice to also have somebody and a board created so that I can ask those people, what would you do in such a situation? Have you seen it before? I don't want to reinvent the wheel if I don't have to. So I think that's probably what I'm working on now. I don't know how long it'll take. I'm not in a huge rush, but obviously the sooner I get it, the sooner I can start on my accelerated program. And if we don't have it, we don't need it, but it would be nice. And just always being at the top of my game, going to conferences, learning more about all the different technologies that are out there, improving the products we have, always being able to be at the forefront of pro aging, because it's all about being your best for as long as possible. And that means looking at innovation in terms of the technology that goes behind skincare, the ingredients that might be better formulated or better way of formulating it, even in terms of, product packaging. Are there things that we need to do differently to be more sustainable and better for the environment and our community as a whole? And, of course, always having state-of-the-art things available to my patients and giving them that very bespoke one-on-one treatment that I love giving.
Mariam, thank you so much for telling us your really inspiring story. And I'm so grateful that you told us your really visionary plans of getting an investor on board that has real business development gravitas. And we're really excited to watch that space.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much for having me.